Hello everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from stampyourartout.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota in the US, and I'm here to bring you my weekly live paper crafting class. It is free to all of you. I hope that you enjoy coming each week. I have fun sharing. I love teaching the art of paper crafting. Thank you so much to Trisha Josephs and Lisa Marshall. They are my moderators on our two platforms. We have Trisha Josephs on YouTube and we have Lisa Marshall on Facebook. They're here to answer questions. So if you have one, you can post it and hopefully they can answer. I hope that you're all doing well. The weather is super nice here in Andover, Minnesota today. It's been nice for like a week. We've had really great temperatures, which is amazing for fall. Normally we're like super frigid and cold around here, but yeah, it's been fun. Let's see, we're gonna share some alternates with the latest paper pumpkin kit today. So my mind, when the kit comes to my mailbox, my mind just goes crazy with like all kinds of ideas. I love having a limited amount of products in a kit and stretching my imagination to see what I can come up with to create with it. For some reason, when I look at all the products in my room, I get overwhelmed sometimes, but when I have a kit, it's easier. I don't know, it's just something that I love to do. So I hope that you enjoy my alternate project ideas. I'm using the kit contents and I'm using some extra supplies that are Stampin' Up! Products that are coordinating. The first set of projects that I'm going to share with you today are cards that I made with the supplies of 2 cards from the kit. So let me take you to my desktop right now. I'm going to show you the box that it came in. It's one of these special boxes, you know, like normally the boxes are kind of a reddish, like a warm red color, like a poppy parade color. And this one is like a specialty box. So you can kind of get a hint of what's inside. Now I took all the contents out, but when you get the box, you get it in your mailbox. And then you get like this packet like this, and all the supplies, the consumable supplies are in here, including the stamps and the ink. So these are the stamps. This is the ink spot that came in it. Here's the flyer, or the little pamphlet that has all the directions, visual directions for making your cards. So we're gonna set that stuff off to the side for a minute though. And I'm gonna pull in the supplies for 2 of the cards. I'm gonna bring this back for just a second here. So this kit makes 10 cards. And if you did not get this kit in your hands, you could become an active subscriber if you're not already and purchase the refill kit, which I believe is still there in the US right now. So hopefully you can get your hands on it. And then you can just replace some of the stamp images with sentiments and images that you have on hand. But once the kit ships, that's it. You can come back several months later and see if Stampin' Up! Has the full kit offered again in the online store, again for only active subscribers, but that's a long time away from the excitement of the kit. So you want to be an active subscriber, bottom line. And the nice thing about being an active subscriber is there are tons of us demonstrators and other creators online that are sharing different projects that you can make in case you don't like the projects that are available to you in the directions. Now, these cards in this kit I think are really pretty, but I can't stop myself. I just create different things. So, oh, the kit is sold out. Okay, thank you to Mary and Virginia for chiming in and letting us know that that one is sold out. It's sold out, you guys. Sorry about that. So become an active subscriber. And hopefully the ideas that I share today, you can apply to different projects or products that you own. So that is the thing. When I share my videos, I'm sharing products that you may or may not have anyways. But hopefully the tips and ideas and maybe the fun fold or the way that I do something intrigues you and allows you to create with products that you have on hand. Or of course, I have links to the supplies that I'm using in my description of my video and in my blog post that will be linked to this soon after the video is done. The exception is paper pumpkin kits, if they're sold out. But that's okay. You can get all the other goodies. So this again, Nests of Christmas, October 2024. We're gonna take a look at these supplies. So this is what you get to make for those 10 cards. You get all of these little goodies here. Now, not all of these products are used. Like these two here, I believe are scraps. I don't think they even get used on the finished cards that the kit dictates. But let's say we just kind of divide them out. These are the supplies for making 2 of the kit cards. And again, you make 10, 5 of 2 different kinds. We're gonna take the supplies from those 2 different cards and we're gonna make 6 cards from them. That's the first thing that we're gonna do. And then I'm gonna show you and walk you through explaining how to make a shaker card with some of these supplies and how to make a couple boxes. So we're gonna go super fast today. Take note that it's gonna go fast, but you can always rewatch the video, okay? So if you were to take and create 6 cards from 2 supplies, imagine what you can do with 10 card supplies. You can triple the cards in the kit. So if you love Christmas cards, which is what this kind of gravitates towards in this kit, right? You can make 30 Christmas cards from this by just adding in some basic white envelopes, okay, because we're going to cut up the envelopes, and some basic black cardstock. Now, if you want to, you can also add embellishments. I chose the Tinsel Gems 4-pack. So really, it's not a lot of extra supplies. I'm getting extra white paper from these envelopes. Let's take and trim one of those up real quick so you can see what I'm doing. So if you're gonna make 30 cards from the whole kit and a pack of basic white envelopes, you get 40 in, you actually have 10 extra envelopes left over to cut into white paper. So if you take those 10 sheets of paper, 10 envelopes, and you create little sheets of paper with them, we're gonna create 20 sheets of paper. And I know that's not what you need. You'll need 30, but we're gonna deal with that in just a minute. So if you take and trim off the little edges on all 3 sides, so the bottom of the envelopes, we're just trimming off the edges here to open these envelopes up and have 2 sheets of white paper, okay? So there's our 2 sheets. We're gonna trim this one down to 4 1/8 inches. Chime in, you guys. Let me know where you're from. Tell me how long you've been crafting. Tell me what your favorite Stampin' Up! Color is. Tell me what your favorite kit is. If you're a Paper Pumpkin fan, is there a kit that you've just been in love with recently? So this piece of paper here is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. This is going to be an inside layer onto our cards because remember, we have basic black card stock and that's going to become the base for our cards, okay? We're going to build all our cards on top of that. We need another piece. This piece isn't quite as big. We're going to trim that one down. We're going to go a little over 1/2 inch here on each side and just trim off the excess. That will remove these pieces and these pieces. So we're trimming this down to 4 1/2 inches in this direction and 3 1/4 inches in this direction, okay? It's just a slightly smaller layer than this size. It's about the same, but it's slightly smaller. So we have the same proportions, I should say. So we have 2 layers from 10 envelopes. That gives us 20 layers. Remember, we're making 30 cards though. So your other layers you can get from the kit envelopes. Oh, I'm going to show you those. Oh, here they are. Okay, the kit envelopes have a white side to them, okay? So we're going to take and open up. Now, normally I trim off the edges, but I really want to preserve right down to this section here. I want to preserve that. So I am opening up my envelopes another way. This is just another option for all of you. Just peel it open like that, okay? So that's another way to open them up. I'm now going to trim this off. First, I'm going to straighten out the edge a little bit here. Actually, no, I'm going to trim off first. I want to make sure I have a straight line. So I'm going to follow this edge right here, this little fold in my envelope. And I'm going to make sure that that is parallel. And it will help if I kind of fold this back. Let's just fold that back so we can kind of bring that flat edge here up to the top. And I want that to be parallel to the cutting line, the little the channel in my trimmer. Okay, I'll trim it on this side so you can see better. So there's the channel of my trimmer. I'm just going to trim a bit on the inside, maybe a little less than 1/4 of an inch, like that. Now I'm going to trim this down to 3 1/4 inches, and I'm going to trim off a little bit on each side, a little over 1/2 inch, just like we did on the other one, so that we have a 4 1/2 inch layer. So from the 10 kit envelopes, you can make 10 more layers. All right, so that's how you're going to get 30 layers altogether. The extra envelopes from the medium envelope packet, this little guy here, and then your little pieces here from your kit envelopes. Okay, now what are we going to do with this? We're going to trim this up, but we're not going to do it quite yet. I just want to show you that this piece over on this side is going to be removed. This little section here is going to be removed, and we're going to keep this for one of our windows. So I'm going to hang on to that for just a second. All of this stuff is scrap. We'll just toss that aside. Let me do one more cut before we lift up and reveal what we have underneath this grid paper. So you're going to need, if you want to just make 6 cards from 2, you're going to need 6 sheets of cardstock. So if you're going to make 30 cards altogether, you're going to need, oh, sorry, got a little message. If you're going to make 30 cards altogether, you're going to need 15. Okay, so we're making 6 cards from 3, 30 from 15. Let me show you how to prepare your cardstock the quickest. You're going to score through the middle. You're going to take and divide this in half at 4 1/4 inches, because this is 8 1/2 inch cardstock. So you're going to bring it to the 4 1/4 inch mark, score both of them at the same time, rotate it in this direction, and then bring it to the 5 1/2 inch mark, which is half of 11, and cut. And now we have 2 bases, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have our 6 layers. Let's grab what's underneath here. I'm going to shove this stuff aside for now. And I'm going to lift this up, and we're going to reveal some things that are already prepared for us. Because if we're going to make a lot of cards, you guys, we got to whip this together fast. Okay, so I have my one of my envelopes ready. I have another one that I'm going to use in a second. I want to show you these pieces. So these pieces are what you're going to do to prepare your 6 cards. You're going to take these 2 guys here. One, you're going to left justify and stamp with Joyful Thoughts 2 this season. The other one, you're going to stamp right in the middle. And it doesn't matter. I mean, I know that they're 2 different sizes, but they're not too much of a difference. So whichever one you want. With this piece, we're going to take our paper snips, and we're going to trim away this from the bird. We're going to separate that bird because there's a lot of white space on that piece, and we don't need all that white space in the middle, so we're going to get rid of that. We're going to have the bird separate. And then if you want to, you can just come in and clean this up a little bit, fussy cut a little bit deeper, and now you have that piece ready. I'm going to zoom in a bit. Okay, so there's those pieces. The ribbon, you're going to leave as is. This piece, this piece, this piece, and this piece you leave as is. And then we've got these 2 that are going to become layers. We're going to stamp onto one of them. And for our envelopes, you already know what we did here. We trimmed some things up. So it looks similar to this, except do you see what I did here? I already cut this out. You're going to do that for both of your envelopes, okay? Now we're too close. Okay, so, oh, and this was the extra envelope flap thing that I just showed you how to cut. So I'm going to set that over here because we're set. Do you see all of these? Okay, these are leftovers from the cards that we cut up. So now I'm going to bring in those 2 cards. Now these bases are special bases in that they make a trifold type of card. Okay, so you've got this layer here. You've got this layer here, and then the back side. And this is the way the kit wants you to create the cards. But I took and cut all of these into 3 pieces. The first thing I did is I cut this section off. And this section here is exactly 4 1/4 inches wide by 5 1/2 inches tall. You want to leave that as is, okay? 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Then what you have left over here is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, but this piece is 4 1/8 by 5 1/2. And the reason why it's 4 1/8 and it's not 4 1/4 is because it needs to have that little room there in order for this to fold over. You need to have less on this little section here. So I took and cut both of these then. I separated them out and cut both of them to 4 1/4 inches wide. I'm sorry, 4 1/8 inches wide. And then I took an 1/8 inch off in the other direction. And that's why you see these little shreds of paper here. That's what I removed. And I cut them down to get 1, 2, 3 layers. These 2 layers, again, are slightly smaller than this layer. 1/8 of an inch off each edge. Did the same thing with the other card base. Here's your 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Here's your 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. They're slightly smaller. Alrighty, now we're ready to assemble. So now that we've prepared everything, I'm going to go ahead and start creating for you. Let's bring in one of our card bases. How many of you create along with me when we do this? I would love to know. Joining late. Oh, I hope your grand dog is okay, Tracy. Okay, we're going to fold this. And when you fold your cardstock base, you want to check to see if there's an overlap anywhere. And these are pretty lined up. So, but if you see both edges on one side, that's going to be the back side of your card. Okay, after that, we're going to take this piece and we're going to lay it on with some adhesive. So I'm just going to take my seal adhesive. Now you do get adhesive in the kit. In this kit, you get a roll of tear and tape that's nice and wide. Really cool, right? You also get a sheet of dimensionals. So those are the adhesives that you get for this one. So you could go ahead and tear these pieces off and use that, but I like to be really quick, so I tend to bring out my seal adhesive when I'm working. I also use multi-purpose liquid glue. I am going to be using the skinnier tear and tape for another project soon. So this one was just a little too wide, although if this is all you have, you can trim it. Okay, so we're going to add that to the front of our card. I love that this kit has such beautiful colors in it, and I discovered, that's how I picked out the embellishments, I discovered that you can really see all of these colors within. You have your blue color in the background, your green, you have your yellow. If you look closely, there's like little tiny golden yellow dots. So we're going to be using those on this card. And then even though this is pink, you'll see a card that I do where it comes in handy to have that because they're slightly transparent. Okay, next we're going to add our joyful thoughts to this season, the one that's left justified. We're going to add that. But first we're going to add a little bit of seal adhesive to the very top edge of that and grab our ribbon, one of our 2 ribbons, lay it down. And I like it so that this little edge here is pointing upward. And then I'm going to angle it and connect it like that. So we have just a hint of red on the outer edges and it's angled up and out like that. This is now going to go onto the front of our card with dimensionals. I'll just take and add 3 there. Peel off the backing. And we're going to add that to our card at the same time that we're positioning another accent that's going to go on the front of our card. So we're going to take our bird. This is going to be added here. And I'm going to lay that down where it's going to fit so that I can kind of make sure that this all looks lined up and ready to go. And I think this is how I did it on my other card. I was up a little higher. I try to duplicate my other cards, my sample cards that I've created, because I want to make sure that when I share my blog posts and you're seeing photos of all these finished cards, you're not like, wait a minute, that card looks different. So, all right, so then we put a couple dimensionals on here and we add that in place. And then the last thing is to add some embellishments. And I'm going to bring in the take your pick tool. You can use your fingers. or like your paper snips to lift these up, but I love this tool. So we're going to take and push, slide, and lift, and we're going to grab and add just kind of a little accent there, there, and there. And now we have the front of that. The inside of that one is using one of their smaller envelope layers. So I'll just grab this one since I have it in my hand. And we're going to take some stamps from the kit. The kit comes with stamps, you guys. Okay, here's my nice, super clean one. Your stamps will get stained over time, but that's okay. That means that they're well loved. We're going to grab this one. And I have to grab the block. Oops. And we're going to mount it. And then we're going to use our ink. And remember, our ink comes with an ink spot in that green color, wherever I put it, shaded spruce. But I'm going to use my larger ink pad just because it's quicker and easier for me. We'll ink this up. I'm going to take and look at my finish card. And that gets stamped here and here, and then a couple in the bottom. And then we'll just add that with seal adhesive right into the card. Okay, so that's how that came together. Super simple, super easy, but still super pretty, right? Like a kit card. So that's one. The next one is using this layer and a card base. We'll prepare that. We'll add this with our seal adhesive, and I just wipe my finger in the ink pad. Things are flying, you guys, because we're trying to create fast. And that one's going to go on the front of our card like this. Then the next layer up is this one. So this is a scrap that you won't be using in the kit if you make the kit cards the way that they instruct, but we're going to use it. And before we use it, I'm going to grab another block, and we're going to mount another stamp from that stamp set. It's little speckles. Okay, it's like little tiny speckles. So we're going to ink those and just kind of stamp them randomly here and there. You can turn your stamp around. We just want a few of them flowing through, starting from the upper center and going down across like that. We're going to bring in our other stamped sentiment. We're going to do the same thing that we just did with the first one. So I'll add adhesive across the top. Then we'll connect it like that. Then we'll add our dimensionals underneath. But before we add this, we're going to make sure that this fits. So we're going to connect like that. Yep, that's going to work. I'm going to shove this over just a little bit to make sure it will slide underneath. And now we'll peel off the backings. We'll hold this in place like we did with the bird. So it's going to kind of connect like that. We'll hold it on in place and we'll lay it across here so it fits in a nice position. Then we'll take and add this one with dimensionals in some strategic places so that they don't interfere with everything. Peel off the backings. Oh my goodness. Someday I'll grow my fingernails back. Okay, and then we'll slide this under. And I like that one little guy here to be right kind of overlapping on top, like that. It's kind of overlapping on this little section. Then this whole thing gets added with dimensionals. Dimensionals create a shadow and gives you the illusion that there's yet one more layer, like of dark cardstock between. It just really adds a lot to a card. If you do not have dimensionals yet in your collection of adhesives, I recommend it. The inside of that is another one of these layers, but I just stamped it in the lower portion like that. I did not add any embellishments to this one. I think that you don't have to just because you've got some foiling on here and it looks gorgeous like that. It's up to you. The next one is using this frame, and we'll bring in this stamp again, and we're just going to add a little bit of branch imagery in these areas here, kind of coming down and around, and we'll do the same thing on this side. So we have one there, 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 and sort of coming in like that. Okay, stamp before you assemble. I did not do that on my first ones, and I had trouble. I added the stamps later on, and there was a lot of like leveling off and post-it notes and masking, and so stamp first. Okay, now we're going to bring in this envelope here because it's pretty much ready to go, and we're going to connect these two together. So what I recommend is adding adhesive to this first down here, and that's where the glue comes in handy. So we're going to add that, and we're just going to go in, ooh, a little bubble. We're just going to add a little bit here and a little bit here on the sides. If you want to, you can use like the a precision tip bottle, and it gets more accurate that way. I'm going to keep that handy just in case. Okay, so then you take and you're going to lay this on here so that you're not exposing those fold lines. You see those creases in there? We want to go right up to the edges of those creases, or maybe on the inside of them. And it's a good thing we have used glue because we can shift as we stick it down and kind of slide and maneuver to make it look the way we want it to look. Okay, that looks good. Now, how do we get rid of all that other stuff? We just trim it away, just by hand. We don't need all this. Oops, 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 it's moving on me. It's moving on me because I didn't let it dry yet. Hang on. Hold on, get back in place. Bond. Okay, while we're doing that, let's just bring in that little scrap that we had cut. That's over here. We're gonna do another one of those for the other envelope while we're waiting for that to dry. So you just come in and you're gonna go around about 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch. It's up to you how far. I think a lot of the kit pieces are more like 1/8 of an inch though. So if you go further out than maybe what I'm used to cutting, oops, come on, go down there. There we go. Then it's going to look more consistent when you layer it with another piece from the kit. Do you also notice too that my left hand is the one that's moving around? Oh, I got ink on my left hand. My left hand is the one that's moving around and not my right. My right hand holding the scissors pretty much stays in place. Rachel, you got dirty. You guys, those of you that know anything about me know that I love to get ink on my hands, not. So we're gonna grab a paper towel because we do not want to have any problems with our projects. And I'm going to use this stamp and mist cleaner that I use to clean my stamps and just spray it onto my paper towel. Oh, see, I could have wiped that all over my projects, you guys. Gross. Okay. All right, we're moving on. Let's go back to this one. This should be dry by now. So we're going to come back in and we're just going to trim this out. Now you could trim beforehand if you want to, so that's not stressful to you, but that's how you do that. And then you're just going to do the same thing in this area. You're just going to trim across. I'm going to use a long bladed scissors just to be a little bit more accurate. And I'm going to trim right through here like that, and right through here like that. I'm trimming right underneath in the middle. Okay, there's that. Then you can come back in and you can add some adhesive directly to this frame. I'm adding it directly to the frame because the frame is going to connect with the card flat anyways. And so if this paper connects with it, don't do it yet though. If this paper connects to the frame and we still have some exposed, it's totally fine. Before we connect that completely down, we're going to take and lift this and just kind of position that in place. Oh, and I did add adhesive to that too. And this gets tucked right under like that. And we just connect it all together. It's sticking to my fingers. There we go. This whole thing now gets mounted onto the front of one of our cards. So you can come back in and you can just go around it to make sure that you've added adhesive all the way around. We'll grab our card base, take a peek, looks like it's even, so we're good to go. And then we lay it down on top. And we just try to line up all those edges. If you have any excess on either the paper that's going on top or the black paper, you can trim it up if you'd like to. It looks like we got it pretty spot on. The inside, oh, then you're gonna stamp. We're gonna stamp Happy Holidays. So let's grab our stamps again. We have that sentiment all as one. It's one image. So we're just gonna ink it up and we're gonna stamp. And you know what color I've been using? I don't even think I told you this. We have been using Tuxedo Black ink. So instead of the shaded spruce for my sentiments on my first two cards, I brought in one more color. You wouldn't have to, but I think it looks great. Rachel's making a mess, you guys. I think it looks great adding the black ink in here because you have little sprigs that have black within them. And I think it really helps for all of that to stand out more with a even more higher contrast of color, the black versus the green. Stamp that down, and then we're gonna embellish. We're gonna add some embellishments, and we're gonna add our green. So we'll take and put a large one up here in the corner next to a small one, and then another large one or small one, doesn't matter, whatever you have left over down here. The inside of that card looks like that. Okay. All right, so there's that one. Now, on to the next. And thankfully, yeah, I dipped it in my ink pad. Close your ink pads, you guys, close them up. All right, this layer is gonna go onto our folded card base. We're going fast, you guys. I think I want it to go this way. I don't know why. Oh, checking the card base, you guys. Check your card base. This is the side I want. There we go. Okay, so that layer is on there. Next, we're gonna take this layer. And this is another discarded piece from the kit, one that you don't use in your cards. Flip it over. You can use the front side. I'm not using the front side. I'm flipping it over and I'm gonna add that directly. I know you guys are like, oh my gosh, she's not using the pretty side. Because I think it's too distracting when you have all of those patterns going on at the same time. So we are not having those patterns going on at the same time on this card. We're keeping it simpler and cleaner. I've added it so that it's about a half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch all the way around here. I wanted more room on the bottom down here. We'll bring in our cardinal and we'll bring in this piece and we're gonna connect the two of them together. When I do that, I'm gonna lay them in place where I think he's gonna fit the best, and that looks good. So I'm gonna flip this guy over, just put a little adhesive on his bottom belly area here. Connect them again. Lift the whole thing up, add dimensionals. Add dimensionals to the whole thing. Oops. Okay, peel those off. You can add to the tail too if you want to. Okay, this is gonna get added here. And before I connect it completely, where's that one that we cut out? Right here, see that? We're gonna trim that one up even more because we want to get rid of that branch that's going right up to the edge and does not have any white around it. So we're gonna trim it off right in that spot. Okay, brings it a little deeper and allows us to connect that underneath the bird with a little bit more hidden. So that's gonna connect here like that. Now we can press everything in place, grab our next set of stamps, and now I'm going to use 2 colors. This is the wonderful part about this stamp set, is one of your sentiments gives you options because it's not connected. Stamp Your Christmas, and we'll grab a block for that. Stamp Your Christmas in black. We want that one to stand out the most. Ink it up. Make sure that you leave room for the Mary up above. So you're going to look at your sentiment and you're going to make sure that it's parallel to the top and bottom edges of the card and it's centered. And then you'll take your Mary and we'll ink that up in our shaded spruce color. I still am getting ink all over me. I think the ink pad is dirty, you guys. I have to be careful here. Center that and stamp it. We'll do some cleaning. We'll do some cleaning again. Let's do this. I think every time I'm touching this ink pad, I'm getting ink on me. Do you guys ever do that? You have like a really inked up ink pad. And that's the cause of the problem of getting ink all over everything, is you've got ink on your ink pad. There. Hopefully I'm good for the rest of the time. So that card is finished. I didn't add any bling to it, but you could. You could definitely add like more of the yellow little dot pieces if you want. These guys here, or any of the colors. You could add blue in there. So the next card is, oops, that one's gonna go over here. The next card is using this piece and this envelope layer. And I think this time, this envelope layer fits directly under there really well. But you could go ahead and trim first if it really bothers you to have that excess layer down here. You could just come in and snip it a little closer. All right, so let's take that piece now. We will do the same thing. So we're gonna add adhesive right in here. That was too much. And then we'll add some adhesive down in here. And we'll connect while our adhesive is still wet and making sure that we're just inside the score lines like that. Those lines here and here are parallel to the edges of your window. An arched window card, so pretty. Boy, where is the ink coming from? Tissue. Wowza, Rachel. It's Pigpen Day today. I feel like Pigpen, the character on Charlie Brown. Peanuts, that's what that's the name of the cartoon. Okay. Okay, so next we're gonna trim up again. We're gonna go underneath so we're just inside on that section, and I'm cutting the top first because I want to keep that intact. And then I'm going to come back and cut in here. If that bugs you, you can turn it over and cut too. I'm sorry, I'm doing it kind of blindly, aren't I? Okay, these two pieces here, we're going to toss, although it's great white cardstock if you wanted to use it for something else, but I am not. But these two we're going to use. Let's finish adding the adhesive through here. Oh yeah, I put it on the frame. Put your adhesive around your frame. And it doesn't have to be all the way around, but just enough to add that layer. Oh, I did that one so much better than the last time. And then come around, add your adhesive here. It's live. It's a live video. At least right now it is. Those of you that are watching afterwards, yeah, I can't come back and correct the mistakes that I've made in the video. My hands are not any cleaner the second time you watch it. Okay, connect all of these like that. And then we're going to stamp the Happy Holidays again. So where did that one go? Happy Holidays. Here it is. We're going to ink that up in black, tuxedo black. We're going to stamp that up here so that it's centered and parallel to the top and bottom of the card. And then for that one, because this is a little plain up in the upper corner, I did add on my finished card. Oh, I forgot to show you the inside of the cardinal card, didn't I? On my finished card for this one, I have this piece. Oops, come on. There and there, a small and a large. Kind of to balance off the bottom down here. So, and on the inside of that, I have that layer. So where are our two larger layers? Our two larger layers are on the inside of our Merry Christmas cardinal card and on the card that I'm going to show you in just a second here. And I stamped that one this way. It's a horizontal card. Let's check that one out. You're going to fold this. We're going to add this. We're going to use our trimmer. Actually, we're going to use our long scissors, our long bladed scissors, and we're going to cut. If you want to use your trimmer, you can too. We're going to cut. I'm going to cut the ones that are folded because I don't trust my blade. I don't think it's sharp enough right now to deal with creased envelope lines here. So I'm just trimming on those two like that and on this one. And then we're going to connect them together. And I want my larger one on top of my smaller one. But I'm going to trim that up a bit because it will be noticeable. So I might as well have a straight cut there. This is very pieced together. Oh, and then I put a score line in it. I used my gray blade. Okay, so that's done. And that one's going to go on top of this one. Okay, we're going to line them up. Oh, let's stamp first. We're going to stamp this one first, and then we'll add it. Just in case there's like a tiny bit of bump that is caused by these two layering together. So we're going to ink up our Mary first this time. There's our Mary. And our Mary is going to go right up close to that edge. I'm going to put it against a dark piece of cardstock so you can see. We're going to go right up close to that edge with our Mary. And then our Christmas underneath, like that. That's straight enough. And then we're going to connect the two together to make a nice large label. See how cool that is? And now we'll finish off doing some more hand trimming. Or again, if you'd rather, you can take and use the paper trimmer. This piece gets added to the front of our card flat because it's made from envelope paper, so it's not like super stiff and steady. And we're going to add that so that it's about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom, like that. Now we're going to stamp again. We're going to bring in our green ink and our speckles, and we're going to add a few speckles right above that sentiment like that. We're going to add some up in here, and we're going to add some over here. Just wherever. They're random. They're random little speckles. Setting all those over there. So what do we have left? We have this piece, and we have our little chickadee. We're going to add this with dimensionals. When we add this with dimensionals, oh, let's do this guy first. We're going to add him in the middle. Okay, so let's lay it where it's going to go. Add him in the middle. And then we're going to make sure that we avoid this section, and we're going to add dimensionals around that piece. And we can probably add one more here just to make sure it stays lifted. Peel off the backings. And then we set this down. And the reason for that positioning of the dimensionals, if you haven't watched past videos, is that I don't want this little birdie to be 2 dimensionals high. I'm going to shift him just a little bit. I don't want him to be 2 dimensionals high. I want this card to, when it goes through the mail, to not be super thick in the middle. Of course, if you want to make it super thick, you can come in with this. So this is where I was saying, if you add these, they're transparent. So they're gonna give you a little bit of a sparkle to some of your berries. I'm adding a small and a large here. I'm adding a large over here. And I'm adding a small up in here. And I don't know why I picked small or large. I just wanted a little bit of each. But that is one way to make those berries glisten a little bit more. The inside of that card, as I showed you earlier, looks like that. All right, so we have our 6 cards from 2. Now I told you that I also have a shaker card. I'm going to show you on my computer first the image of the inside. Let's just take a peek at this really quick. So before your card is put together, you're going to want to, oops, wrong thing. There we go. Okay, so I'm showing you on my photo app here the halfway point. You're going to take your card base, and it's this one here. You're going to, oh, I'm not, hang on. Let's go back over here for a minute. You're going to take your card base and you're going to cut off the frame so that you have just this. And remember, this is going to have a little white edging here. Just ignore it because it'll still work. But just note that you can't bring adhesive all the way over onto this layer or it's going to go off the edge and it's going to get stuck and your card's going to stay closed. So this is the front of your card. That's the back. Let's go back to the image here. When you make your shaker card, you're going to take and add a window sheet to the back side of a frame piece. Now, where did we get the frame piece from? Well, we just cut it off. Okay, so you're going to take that frame piece and you're going to put a window sheet on the inside. I'm trying to explain this super fast because we only have like 10 minutes left. So let's go to the desk. Here's the finished card. That's how you get a shaker card to be that way. So what we did is we took an added window sheet to the frame first. We just put adhesive against the inside edges here with the skinnier of the 2 tear and tapes. That's why I was saying you want to have tear and tape that's thinner, okay? So that you can go all the way around, add your window sheet so it's larger than this window, but smaller than the whole section. Let's measure to see where I think mine was, I want to say, yeah, mine was 4 by 5 1/4 for the window sheet. And then after you've done that, let's go back to the image again on my computer. After you've done that, you're going to take and you're going to put foam strips, and the foam strips have to connect. You can't have a gap. You're going to put foam strips on top of that window sheet just inside the window so that the foam strips aren't seen. Okay? You can use foam strips. We sell foam strips, but you can also take foam sheets and you can cut them up. So back over here again. I don't have any foam strips left. That's why I used foam sheets. And foam sheets are basically one big dimensional. And you just take and trim it with your trimmer to like 1/8 of an inch wide, okay? After that, you're gonna take and put the little shaker pieces on the inside. And you saw I had snowflakes on there. Then you're gonna take your card, okay, here's your card, and you're gonna lay it on top of your frame. Okay, so you're going to look at the frame edging, which is the same size as your card, and you're going to line it up just like you did when you were making those other 6 cards. You're going to line it up like that and connect it, and that's how you get the snowflakes on the inside. I stamped one of those banners, but the banner is upside down, so this banner allows for a larger stamp. There's the glossy green there. This banner allows for a larger stamp image. Where'd that one come from? Huh. That one came from my favorite stamp set. My favorite stamp set called Layering Leaves. So this one would fit, this one would fit, hello would fit. I love that sentiment. So I stuck that on there, put the bird up on dimensionals. I did stamp this before I connected the frame. And I also have some little glossy, those little foil gem things, okay? So we have a shaker card. The next project that I want to share with you, and Lisa and Trisha, if you have to go, I will totally understand. I'm going to go a little over time today. We're going to use these book boxes. So I'm going to take an inside and I'm going to take an outside. This is a product that Stampin' Up! Is currently carrying. So we need those two pieces there. And we're going to put them together. They get folded like that with the adhesive on the inside. I'm going to tear this off and I'm going to roll it with my hands. Now, if you have fragile skin and you don't want to do this, that's totally fine. You could use like an adhesive eraser or some other tool to grab all that, but we're just going to roll that off. I don't want it there anymore. And I'm not going to take the time to cover it either. That takes too much work. So I rolled it off and I no longer have my adhesive on this tab, but I have adhesive here and we're going to need that. And I have adhesive here. Let's peel off the backings for those two pieces. Have you seen these book boxes? They're so cool. So you're going to roll up all the sides. You're going to fold them all in. And these two little tabs stay on the inside. And this goes over the top and secures it. Same thing over here and secures it. Next, we're going to take and peel off these guys. I'm going to press that down a little further. I'm actually going to peel off one. I'm going to peel off the inside one first, okay? Then I'm going to take and add this to the inside so that it looks centered. Looks pretty darn centered. And I'm going to connect. And if it looks good, I know I can peel off the other one. That's a trick. Don't peel off more adhesive backings than you need to right away. Okay, there's that. But we want it to be able to still connect and close, but also be able to open. So now we're going to take and decorate and add some closure to it. This piece measures, and I'm going to look at my other one that's already finished. This piece measures 2 7/8 by 3 7/8. Let's bring our trimmer in. 2 7/8 inches. I'm using this scrap here for this one. You can use any of your card-based pieces, or you could even use some of the coordinating Nests of Winter Suite products. We have coordinating products that work with this kit. So cool. If you haven't seen our September through December catalog, we have a whole suite of products. Winterly Treetops stamp set, the dies, twine is in that suite, embellishments are in that suite, an embossing folder called Birchwood is in that suite, and all this pretty paper. Gorgeous, gorgeous paper, really pretty stuff. So if you're looking for something else to add to your October paper pumpkin kit, I highly recommend looking at the Nests of Winter suite of products. Okay, we want to have rounded corners on here, so I'm going to grab my box and my sheet, and I'm going to bring these two edges right up next to each other, like that. Flip it over and round it off, just by following the corner. Same thing with the other side. I'm going to shift it over here, line it up, and cut to round it off. So if you don't have a corner rounding punch, that's how you can get a nice accurate replica of that same size corner. And then we're going to add this directly on there like that. Okay, now we can add the closure. The closure is using Velcro dots. You could use magnets, you could use adhesive, you could just leave the adhesive on there. I have invested in these 3/8 inch Velcro dots. I think they're a really great size. You could go a little larger if you wanted to. You could go to like 1/2 inch or whatever. The things that I'm showing you that are not Stampin' Up! Can be found in my favorite extras of my website. So if you're on my website, which I haven't even shared with you yet, if you're on my website, go to shop and then click on favorite extras. Okay, take and cut that off there. Getting all my finger oils on here. Don't want to do that. Okay, I want the scratchy side underneath, and I want the soft side to be the part that you feel. Come on, bond. The part that you feel when you're looking at this part of the box. There we go. There's a nice soft side right there. Okay, next, let's decorate the rest of it. Let's add our little pieces. I'm gonna put that in there like that. So we're just gonna add some adhesive right across this. You could use the glue if you want to. I'm just gonna put that on like that. And then I'm gonna add these guys. This is one of my birds that I cut out of that other piece. Do you remember that? Because he was just so far away from the branches. So I cut him out, stuck him on here. Let's add this piece in like that. That looks good. We'll just add a little bit of adhesive under here. That's gonna go there. I'm keeping everything nice and flat except for my little birdie that I'm gonna put on top. I'm gonna put him up on dimensionals because he deserves to be up on a dimensional. Is he a chickadee, you guys? I think he is. All right, so there's that. And then we can add a little ribbon. So for my ribbon, I'm gonna trim this piece of ribbon this way. I'm gonna tie it in a knot. And then do you see the fraying that's happening? Okay, if you keep trying to cut the fray, it's gonna keep on fraying. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim off the ends and then just gonna fray it on purpose. Okay, I'm pulling all of these threads away from the edge that wasn't cut. And then I'm gonna hold these all together. Let's see if we can get a little bit more. Okay, I'm gonna hold this all together here. I'm gonna come in with my ribbon scissors and trim. And now I have this really pretty, airy looking frayed ribbon. Same thing on this side. Just take and separate all of that out. And you will end up with a look like that, okay? So we'll just take and add that with a glue dot. Yeah, a glue dot. Let's use a glue dot. Connect it with the glue dot, lift up the whole thing, roll over any excess, and let's just stick that right behind here, just for a little spray of color there. You can put it wherever you want. I don't know, maybe that looks silly there, but that's where I'm keeping it. And then for my embellishments, I'm gonna bring in a different one. Remember I called these the Tinsel Gems 4-pack? Well, we have another set of embellishments, which I forgot to pull out. And I think they are with the kit. They might be somewhere else. Oh dear, Rachel, where did they go? Okay, I'm just gonna have to show them to you on my other finished box. And then what I'll do is I will add that before I photograph this and add it to my blog. So here is the other one. This is using the cardinal. And this time I put the little thing in the front there, but you just lift that up, stick your candy inside or whatever treat you're gonna put inside. But that one has like light blue, kind of an aqua color that works really well with this background paper. In fact, hey, let's just put these on here because they're green, okay? We'll just do this image. I didn't have a finished one of these to show you, so you just get to see the one that I made. There we go. We have two different book treat boxes. Super cute. Now we have prizes, and if Trisha's still around, it looks like she is. Oh, thanks, Trisha. She posted the link in our discussion there on YouTube for the 3-pack. We're going to draw for prizes. I do have some prize winners from last week that I want to announce, and then of course we'll draw for prizes for this week. But I do want to tell you about Paper Pumpkin a little bit more. Paper Pumpkin has been my love. I have been passionate about it since day one. March of 2013 was when the kits first started coming into play, and I've been creating with them ever since. If you go to my computer, grab my computer here. If you go to the internet and you go, boom, let's go to my website at stampyourartout.com. You click on Paper Pumpkin, you're going to see all kinds of things under there. You're going to see a link for signing up through me directly if you do not have a Paper Pumpkin account yet. You can learn more. I do need to update that section. You can order prepaid subscriptions. You can look at recent Paper Pumpkin posts. You can look at older ones, which I also have to update. But this is kind of like a catalog of ideas of things that I've done since March of 2013. Also, if you go to Pinterest, I pin things on Pinterest. Then stamp set case inserts. If you are a diehard of Paper Pumpkin, you may want to be organizing your stamp sets into cases. I'm going to show you how I organize, oh, that's interesting, how I organize mine. So I'm going to bring you back to my desktop. It got enlarged on us. All right, so let me show you what I do for my stamp sets. And I'm going to close up these ink pads because they're making me really nervous over here. For my stamp sets, for my Paper Pumpkin kits, I use our 6x8 binders. These are little albums that you can use for scrapbooking or whatever. And I have been storing my stamps in them since day one. I just keep getting a new binder. I take and create little labels that tell me the name of the kit and the month, the year. This one was an extra one, obviously. So you got 2 stamps that kit. But then I just slip them in like that. I take the pamphlets and I put them into a full sheet protector that you can get for your inserts. And now that the stamps have been arriving with these little inserts here, I add that to my stamp set, sandwich stamp set that I slip into my pockets. You can see here that I have the plastic from the actual stamp set kit, or the kit stamp set, plus I add another 4x6 sheet of window sheets. And we use the window sheets for that shaker card. So Stampin' Up, yes, we sell window sheets. This is my latest one. So you can see some more of the recent stamp sets in here. And I just keep building and I store them on my shelves behind me. You'll see them back there. How do I store my ink spots? Well, I did see something that Stampin' Storage just put out, and I might have to get that, but these are what I currently use. Little holders from Ranger, and I have a link to them in my favorite extras in case you're curious on those products. And I just store them in there, and then I flip the whole thing upside down so that the ink stays at the surface of my spots. And then my last thing I want to share with you is the consumable parts. So I do have like this bucket here, and I just take and I put them in sideways so I can file through and find the kit that I'm interested in playing around with again. But I store them into these gallon zip containers, okay? Well, that one's obviously Ziploc. But I store them in there like that, and sometimes I come back to them. Sometimes I use them for scrapbooking. Sometimes I gift them to other people, like customers or whatever, like if we're having a kit together or something. So they do not go to waste. It's prize time. I'm gonna pull up my prize sheet from before so I can see what it was that we had last week. Last week it was product of choice. Product of choice, you guys. So the 2 After Live winners that I announced, we'll get to pick from Winterly Treetops, hey, 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 Graceful Deer, Friendly Fins, Poised Peony, or if you'd rather have something consumable, we have the Lily Pond Lane Designer Paper Pack, or I have gold textured dots. All right, so I'm going to share with you on my screen our Facebook winner and our YouTube winner from last week's video. There we go. From YouTube, we have Elaine Schneider, 2553. Congratulations to you, Elaine. You get to pick from one of those products I just shared. And then on Facebook, we have Laura Berto Villardo. So congratulations to both of you, and thank you so much. You'll want to reach out to me at my email address, which is stampyourartout@comcast.net. Again, Laura Berto Villardo, and we have Elaine Schneider, 2553. For this prize, for this video, and for After Live commenters for next week, it's a 1-month prepaid subscription to Paper Pumpkin. So if you win, I will share you the code for redeeming 1 month free, and I'll give you a link for signing up if you haven't already gotten an account. So that way you can start one. It's fun. It's so much fun to be on a Paper Pumpkin creativity spiel. It's like so much fun to, I don't know why I use the word spiel, but it's fun to create with these kits. They are amazing. And I hope that you also join like the Paper Pumpkin fan club, because that's a great way to get lots of ideas too. Started that years ago. We have lots of admins that help approve posts and members every time. There are links to all of this Paper Pumpkin stuff in the description of my video. That description, by the way, will transfer over to the Facebook Live recording after we're done. And my blog post for today will go live at, I believe, did I make it go for 2 o'clock? 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, I can't remember. Just don't click on it yet. It's not ready, because I have to photograph my last box and put that in there. I will also add the names of our winners. So 1 month prepaid subscription for free. Yay! So we're going to grab those winners that Trisha, I believe, just announced. And I know she announced them on there somewhere. The Facebook or the YouTube comments come sooner on my computer than they do on my laptop here. So I'm just going to read them off, you guys, because I can't catch it. The winners that she drew: Lynn McFarlane and Nancy Reguse, G-U-S-E, Reguse. Yeah, congratulations. Let's see if I can find that comment and post it up here, because that would be so fun if we can. Where are they? Where are they? I can't grab them, Trisha. It's so funny. It's so weird how my iPad works. I can see it on my computer, though. So congratulations again to Lynn McFarlane and to Nancy Reguse. I appreciate Trisha sticking around so that she can call out the winners for us. I appreciate Lisa, who I just saw comment also. The next live that we will do will be next week. The end of October is coming up. Kits, if you like them and you want to see them before you buy, look into the kits collection. That's another area of the website, the Stampin' Up! Online store that you can shop through. And there's a sale going on right now through the end of October. So get in on the sale for the kits collection kits. Make sure that you check out Paper Pumpkin, subscribe. If you are a subscriber and you subscribe through me, you also get exclusive ideas every month. So there are perks for my subscribers. I hope that you all have a great week. One last thing. If you're loving all this way too much, like me and a few others that are chime in if you're a demonstrator. Say hello if you are. If you're loving this so much that you would like to get a discount and maybe do more with it, consider the starter kit as well. The starter kit is also on special now through the end of October. You get an extra $30 in free product to pick with your kit. All right, take care, everybody. My next live will be next week. I believe that's October 30th. We won't try to jam in as much. We did get done in 70 minutes, you guys. High five. All right, take care. And that's it. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Appreciate you all coming. Bye-bye.